Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, Dubai. Welcome to the Cloud Monitoring Tuesday, and today on this series of the Cloud Monitoring Tuesday webinars, we have next session. We will talk about the KUSTO query and configuration for the network, for application gateway and application firewall, web application firewall, and also about the ExpressRoute. Most of our discussion will be about the networking exactly, and after that we will have exactly the examples of the application gateway, etc. I will try to explain how it works, and of course you can find additional information based by this QR code, and these webinars organized by Azure UAE community group, Azure Qatar, and Saudi Azure community. So you're welcome every Tuesday till the beginning of October, October 4th, for these sessions. And with you, me, Igor Shastitka, I'm Microsoft MVP. Here you can find different my positions, different roles, and also you can see the email how you can contact with me, or you can contact with me by LinkedIn is direct link, or you can use exactly the name Igor Shastitka, and plus all these videos will be shared on the community channel, Microsoft Azure community channels, and also will be shared on my YouTube channel. And previous sessions you can find here. We start from the strategy and going deeper and deeper in each technology, so like to give you ability to better understand what's going on and how it should work, etc. How you can configure the monitoring solution inside your organization, inside your subscription in Azure. And today this is session, and we have two next session: how to work with Azure PowerShell automation runbooks, to work with log analytics, and also how you can configure the automation modules, etc. exactly to do all these steps automatically, to do the reporting automatically, to do the monitoring automatically, etc. And also deploying the monitoring solution by Azure Policy. And today's it's quite easy session, same like our previous one. It's mostly demonstration, mostly a discussion about the code. So we will talk about the network monitor, network watcher in Azure. What is it, how you can use it, how you can use the monitor connection, and any other options. We will look how to configure this diagnostic, and we can go deep diver in the KQL query, custom query, KUSTO query languages, queries for application gateway and web application firewall, and also about ExpressRoute, where you can find this information, how you can interpret it, etc. So all this information will be discussed today. And if you have any questions, do not forget to raise your hands, and please use the chat to ask the questions. Any questions for the beginning? Okay, let's continue. You can use also the QR codes on the screen somewhere in the on the slide, so like you will see it time to time. And again, understanding the situation, how it works, what is the application data, monitoring data, etc. It's all about the understanding how the Azure Monitor and log analytics works. We discussed it on the previous sessions that any subscription, any Azure resource, and any guest resource sends some data to the metrics, to the Azure Log Analytics, maybe to the storages and Event Hub to provide the additional information about the performance, about the status, about the availability. A lot of data stored inside the Azure, so you can work with it and use it. We discussed this on the previous one, and today we will look how to work with the network monitoring tools. We will use Portal because it's more like, let's say, visible scenario, how you can configure, how you can train, etc. We will configure the connection monitor, we will configure the traffic monitor, we will do the review of the configuration, etc., how it works exactly. And let's see, because typically we always run out of time. And so for today we have subscription, and inside this subscription, if you want to do something like network monitoring, you need to look to the network watcher. Network watcher, it's a tool that allow you to collect the different data about the networking, do some operation, do some diagnostic, etc., etc. All of this stuff, place it on the network watcher to do exactly the monitoring of the different location, because each different location has isolated, let's say, network traffic, etc. You need to create a network watcher on the different regions. For example, right now I have the network watcher for the West Europe. You can, for example, if you're using the North Europe or whatever, of course, like Middle East, UAE North or UAE Central or Qatar Central, you can choose it and it will create additional network monitors options inside the network watcher, right? So like that you can use it, and there is nothing to configure, let's say, just an object that provide you information or provide you, let's say, connection point to take the some activities for the network monitor, for the network monitoring itself. For the next part, we have to understand that Azure is quite dynamic, let's say, system and changing really fast. So like the oldest, let's say, scenarios right now are changing. So like for now, you can see here that connection monitor classic will be depreciated after the February 29th of 2024, so we need to migrate, etc. It was like the easiest part of the solution. Right now Microsoft provides you another connection monitor that it's new one, and you will be able to do a lot of monitoring stuff to better understand what's going on, what's happened inside your solution, is it work, not work, etc. You don't need to do the ping inside the system, you don't need to do the let's say trace route, etc., because you can do this exactly inside the network watcher connection monitor. It's one of the, let's say, best tool that allow you to understand what's going on inside your infrastructure. Is it connected? Is it machines available to reach each other, etc., etc., by different criteria? And you can see here connection monitor. To create the new one, you can create the new one, or you can go inside, and if you look here, there is I have connection monitor. Inside connection monitor, I have the group, and inside test group, right? And inside the test group, I have two machines that's working with each other to ping each other and understand is it okay or not. Why I know that it's ping or not ping? Exactly when we are talking about the test group, I can do required configuration here. If we go to edit, there is our connection monitor. This is the name of connection monitor already created. Region, because we have region for the network watcher, the same like network watcher. We have the subscription where we are placing the data for the log analytics because it's based on the log analytics. We have test groups. We can add different test groups inside one connection monitor, and we can add different machines inside this connection monitor. You can see what I am doing here. I have the Windows 2 machine and Windows 001 machine, and I am trying to reach the machine name it monitor 001 by doing some test. Which test we are doing? It's easy. So this is exactly any to any ping, ICMP, every minute, disable trace route if you need. So success threshold, percent of failed, let's say like not 25 but 5% or whatever, round trip 30 milliseconds. It's like options that we will choose like a normal one. We can use the HTTP protocol with the destination port, with again configuration, method, path, required headers, valid stages, etc., etc., and again how many percent of the check failed could be round trip answer for website. Of course, we need to have more than this 30 milliseconds, but whatever. We can use the TCP and try to reach the some destination port by just this TCP. Is it work or not work? Or of course like ICMP, so ping, and work with the ping. What exactly I'm doing? If I want to add some sources, I select what I need, base it on subscription, VNet level, etc., etc. After that, select some virtual machines that I want to use for the configuration, etc. I'm not adding anything because it takes some time to reconfigure the connection monitor, but anyway you can create it easily and work with it easily. After that, it's more important again to work with the solution. Why it's important? We can create the alert. We discussed the alert before, and we can continue to create alerts here. Which resource will provide, which conditions will be provided, and select the action group. That's what we will do. We discussed these action groups before. We have it like ping me by email, and send the email to the anyone who is on the Azure Resource Manager role. So on for the owners, it also will be email to the owner. So it's easiest way to do the monitoring, to understand what's going on inside the networking. Is it connected or not connected? And after that, review the scenario. You can see the situation that always we lost the configuration. We can see machines, what they sent it, what test was sent it. We can see the topology. You see the machine 1, machine 2. We can see parameters. We can open this resource here and look why it does not work. For example, maybe on the resource, yeah, so like we have allow inbound, VNet inbound any, it's allowed for the any protocol, so it should work. But why it inbound rules, outbound rules, allow webet, so like we have nothing special that is blocking our connectivity. So any virtual machine to any virtual machine will allow us. But if we're not sure, let's add any port range destination, any this machine, right? So like custom service ICMP. Do we have it? Nope. The protocol ICMP custom, yep, ping, nothing. Okay, let's keep it as is. Allow priority, allow any to any inbound. CMP. Okay, it will be our additional rule that will allow us to check what's going on and why this machine does not respond to the ping. But I think it's also the issue inside the internal firewall inside this machine. To check it, so we need to log in inside. We can see the topology, we can download topology, we can look on the performance counters, what's going on there, etc. This is the main scenario how you can configure and understand what's going on inside the solution, inside your infrastructure. But why we are talking about the KUSTO query? Because it's again most interesting part here is view logs, and it will generate you a result where you will find all required options technically. So like you can see that's this machine, destination port, resource, destination IP address, is it work, not work, destination name, blah blah blah, and check totals, check failed, common status fail, the check fail percentage 95, so we failed it, etc. And we can use this query or type of this query for the different queries based on, for example, the type of the monitor. You can see there's like a monitor, but anyway, because we are on the custom query, we can do like this. It's not required. Oh, sorry. It's not required to have it like, no. Contains will work the same, so you don't need to provide the full address. And again, test group name, any to any, we are checking exactly the any to any operation. So it is one of the interesting parts where you can work with what's going on inside the networking, etc. But anyway, looks like we have the issue with connectivity. Even after we change the configuration and allow any to any, it still not provide the answer to the pings. So the ping does not work, ICMP request does not work. We need to look on it, what's going on, right? So this is, and this is the way how you can check it. So, and one network monitor can have a lot of tests inside the machines. You can add the machines, you can add the groups, subnets or VNets, like points to start and 2 points to check. Technically, to do this operation, system, every time when you need to have this deployment, etc., system configures the solution with, of course, extension. If you look on any of the virtual machines, inside the extension, you will find that Azure Network Watcher extension was installed inside the virtual machine, and in reality, what's going on, system sends the request to this watcher extension to execute some network operation on behalf of virtual machine, right? So like when we need to ping something, etc., we can check all of these scenarios here. Same time, when we are talking about the network watcher, we have also network performance monitor here, but you have to understand that this network performance monitor will be retired again the same date, and right now Microsoft does not support it. But if you need to work with it and test it, how it works, right? So like you can try to configure the network monitor. Where is my configuration? There should be no or not. I can't add anything. There should be the option where you can configure and say how it will work, etc. But looks like it's disabled for now. Anyway, so like network performance monitor, it's already depreciated and will not work normally, because you can again use the connection monitor to better understand. Plus, network watcher is a good tool to understand what's going on with your solution and do some changes inside the solution itself. Wait. Let's go back. So we have this machine, Win2, right? Yeah, no, not Win2, Mon1. Yeah, this is ICMP allowed. For example, we want to understand that what's going on and what is the issue. We can do the tests like on this subscription, this resource group, the virtual machine, for example, Win2, with this network interface, we'll try to connect to the TCP port, like inbound. We'll be trying to like from this machine with this port, etc., right? So like remote IP addresses that we will use and local ports. Now this is the way how we can control it. The same one for the NSG diagnostics. So we can check our resource group. We can take that we are planning to check the virtual machine. We are planning to use the Mon000. I want to understand, is it possible for ICMP traffic inbound? The source will be, for example, one of our machine. It will be which IP address? Wait. 10.0.0.7, I think. Destination IP 10.0.0.5 and destination port whatever. Inbound traffic. What is checking right now? It is, yeah, you see, it's allowed by NSG. You can look on SG, but anyway, any traffic by ICMP is allowed. So like we have nothing special in configuration exactly of the Azure. So Azure machine should work. We can recheck it from our current machine to this 00. Sorry, wrong one. No, it's correct. 005 here. Yep. So it's allowed, it works, NSG is allowed. You see this matched. If we delete this, we can do the checks. again. Just a second. Okay, buckets. Do the checks. And again, it's allowed, and we can see what we can see. Allowed. Wait, recheck. It should use the next one because any traffic and any protocol between the network allowed, you see here. So like it was evaluated by this one, it's not applied, not matched, but next protocol is matched, and we can see that this one is allowed to work. This is a standard rule that allowed us to ping machine. So like the issue not in Azure configuration, we right now know this definitely. Okay, another scenario that we can do any of, let's say, hops, how it will work from our current machine to any of another system. For example, what is my public IP? I have this one. Okay, let's do it, and we will see how this machine will route the traffic. So like if you not need next hop internet, and you can see from where it's taken from the system route. We will talk about the system route maybe later. But anyway, right, so like this is one of the scenario. Plus, we can look current security rules for any machine. We can take the same one. It will be checked. Network interface, and provided all our network security groups that we are using to connect with the system. This is main tools. Plus there is VPN troubleshooting, package capture. We can do this and collect the data by storing to the storage account and review inside the storage account what we want to do. It's a really cool situation, but again, this storage account should be after that exported, for example, to the log analytics to do some operations. Unfortunately, it's not possible to send this data directly to the log analytics, but you can do the criteria, you can filter, find the traffic, and after that analyze this traffic inside the blob. It will be JSON file, or inside again log analytics if you upload, etc. Connection troubleshooter, where you can do some specific tests, destination ports, advanced options, etc. to better understand why it's not working, what is the blocking, etc. And a few things that could be used for the log analytics and analyzing the traffic. First of this part, it's NSG flow logs. So like you can create the flow logs for network security groups. These flow logs will collect the data for you. I thought I have the storage account. Why I can't see it? Whatever. NSG. Let's take all. West Europe, okay. For example, I want to store this data here. Retention for 10 days. And all traffic that will be going through this NSG will be filtered and sent to this again storage account. This is the one of the option, but also you can use here enable traffic analytics, right? Every 10 minutes inside this solution with log analytics, and system will create the table where all required data will be stored about the network security groups, etc., what's going on, who is trying to connect, etc., which connection were allowed, which one were blocked. Here it's our configuration, and after we turn on the traffic analytics, we will be able to see more deep dive information than just NSG logs. Okay. Oh, sorry, I missed the questions. Yes, at first, so like all these presentation, all this recording of all of these webinars, you can find or on my YouTube channel, not right now, but it will be published soon, or on side the on the Azure UAE user group or another user group. So Microsoft UAE will do the announcements about these options. Yeah, so like don't worry, all this information will be recorded, you will be able to look on it, etc. So, and if you wish to have the presentations, yes, so like I will present it. Yeah, it cost. So like another question about the cost. If you look on, or in case if you need the prices, right? So it's easiest way, Azure price calculator. Azure price calculator. If we go with the network watcher, so this is the main tool. We go here, network watcher region. Let's take, but can you see UAE North? For example, 5 GB of traffic will be collected for free per month. But if you're planning to have like 1 TB, you see the cost of this price. Diagnostic tool, network diagnostic, 1,000 per month. It's for free, but we are doing every day for 2,000. How much? 1,400. Let's say it will be 65,000. Check. It's 44. You see, ping mesh, network analysis, right? So like we have this analysis and traffic analysis for this traffic per gigabyte. So like the price, and we can put 5 GB accelerated processing every 5 minutes. Again, so this because here another options. Just I calculated something. So $500 dollars per month. It will be the price for the, let's say, normal network watcher configuration to understand what's going on with your infrastructure. But anyway, you can see that we turn it on, we send the data to the log analytics workspace, etc. And it means that after that, we can go to the, it's by the way, diagnostic logs. where you can turn on the separate diagnostic for each, for example, network interface, and review what's going on inside the network interface, the statistic, etc. Here you can see some additional details that Microsoft changed. Log analytics, it's a definition about the table. Azure Network Analytics CL is the name of the traffic flow, additional parameters of the traffic, etc. So all details are here. You can see it, and also you can see the request example. Maybe it will be helpful for you. We have log analytics, so it's still, yeah, for first time it will need 20-30 minutes to better understand what's going on, and after that provide you some additional log analytics exactly here, or you can use again provided queries inside the documentation to do some checks. Let's do the first check here directly. To do this, you remember that it's exactly KUSTO query, and we will go to the workspaces. We will go to our log analytics, logs, and we'll run required logs here. Let's check, is this table already in place? Not yet. So it means that we can't do this check for now. We have to wait until system will generate our first iteration. But also we can see here network performance monitor that we can use to do some analysis of the network. As you can see, network diagnostic, network edge diagnostic information, etc., etc. That's published by one of the machine because we turn it on the type of the interface to analyze it and understand what's going on inside the on the previous list. Questions? Okay, if there is no any questions for now, I would remind you that the KUSTO query, it's quite a little bit easy way. You must understand not the language. You don't need to learn exactly the language, but you need to understand some parameters or objects that you need to look and you need to check, because it's quite, let's say, complicated part. What exactly you need to understand, like inside the table, from on which table we have this data, how we can analyze this data, what is the parameters that could be differentiate the same data, etc. There is again, so like for example, insights, right? When we're talking it's insights in virtual machines, previous time we can find here. When we are talking about the different type of objects, we can look on these tables based on the resource type and understand. And back to our type of the discussion today, right? It's about also not only networking, but networking it's more clear. You need to configure it at the beginning, the information, send some information after that, and after look on it. But also you have to understand, so for example, that each machine that's doing some operations provides internal information about the connections. Look, for here, you can see that this machine does outbound connection. The process is Azure Guest Monitor, agent, and the destination port 100 TCP, etc., to remote IP, and send some data, what is the DNS request, how many bytes was sent, etc. So we discussed this before on the previous, and right now you can do the same. You can do the same for the network. So like inside Azure Monitor for VMs, VM Insights, you have the detailed information about each machine and what's going on inside each machine. For example, like this one. Oops, sorry. Let's do like this. You see, for example, I want to see any inbound connections, and we can see that the host receives the different inbound connections from different countries, how many bytes were sent, is this malicious IP, etc., connection ID, the number of the response. So like exactly how it works, when it happens, how often, and after that we can use, for example, summarize and analyze. Let's do like where computer, it's like near, right? So like and direction inbound. So let's do, I don't know, summarize. So for example, request number, it will be count, traffic, let's do in traffic, will be number of data received, so it will be summarize of bytes received, and this stuff how we'll group it, let's do by, I don't know, by time generated, being time generated 1 hour. We will do this traffic by 1 hour, and group by 1 hour, and maybe what we are looking, this is source IP. Why not? Oh, let's do by process name, port, destination port, and remote IP or source IP, whatever. And group by order by request. And right now we can see that between 9 and 10, the process like this and destination port like this, 3389, that's exactly RDP that was opened, received the like 46 options to connect, request to connect from this IP, right? So like 60 kilobytes. Someone trying to hack sends a huge amount of data, etc., trying to reach the machines. But anyway, here you can see that's like we have quite a lot list. But if we take this for example for last 7 days, it does not matter. Nothing special changed. Maybe a few lines were added. This is like how we can work with VM connection and understand VM connections and look on the system, right? The same way, if we are talking about the machines, if we look on the processes, inside the processes, the names, etc., you can map the processes with IPs and provide the better information about the situation, which process was initiated, when it was initiated, which services. For example, I saw like just a process name like SCS, but it's not exactly the host, right? So because it's inside this process could be terminal services, network services, etc. So like I can go more deeper based on this request with VM options. Plus, you can see VM bound ports that also allow us to look inside the ports and how the ports were connected. So it will be the point to understand when and how systems were connected to each other, etc. Is it clear? Sorry, just did not have time to answer on the questions because we are just exactly on the middle of the discussion. But what I try to explain to you right now, it's exactly the application gateway query. Unfortunately, I have no time to look on the real query. Application gateway was quite costly solution, plus I had to have backend, and right now, as you can see on my subscription, I have to only $26, and I have to provide additional webinars, so like I need to be more, let's say, money saving. But anyway, this is a standard query, and you have to understand that information about application gateways that provide you access to the publishing to the internet of your websites, etc., could be found inside the Azure Diagnostic. The Azure Diagnostic itself is a table like this one, but if you choose the resource type application gateway and operation name application gateway access, you will have the information about all what's happened with the application gateway request. Was it successful, not successful? You see what have I have here. It's like HTTP status D that was successful. I tried to cut, that's different internal sites like this one. Let's not start with this name, and a host contains the EAE, not like a star, but .ae. So like just to check internal sites that I need, or put the direct name what I need to check. It will again the same like a count of the number of requests, inbound traffic by receiving bytes D, outbound traffic by send bytes D, by again calculated by the time on 2 hours window. And after that, inside this 2 hours window, I am doing the calculation of the max request number, minimal request number, average requests, full sum of request max, inbound max, inbound minimum, average minimum, etc., to have the full vision what's going on with the traffic. The same way I can do, for example, prediction of the traffic. You see, we discussed this prediction of the traffic based on the prediction of, for example, free space on the disk, based on the disk prediction. But right now, the same scenario that we can predict what's going on with your application gateway traffic and predict will it going up, down, etc. And I'm just predict because it was for the huge size, site. I'm predicting that for 1 hour it will be more than 200,000 per hour requests. So like it's quite big, more than 3,000 per minute. So it means it's like more than 50 requests per second. So I'm trying to predict and understand that will this forecast comes higher or lower, and what we will have here, and render time chart. But anyway, you can use it, and you have again understand that to work with the application gateway traffic, you have to use the Azure diagnostic. You have to configure application gateway to send the data to the Azure Log Analytics. It will be sent to this data, but all this data will be marked like resource type application gateway, and operation name will be access, application gateway access. And look on it. Same way, WAF itself has additional options. Application gateway has additional options named WAF, web application firewall, that allow you to filter the traffic, the different traffic, right, based on rules. And you can check, for example, number of the request that was filtered by the request URL by the firewall log. So like was it configured and checked by firewall, and with the statuses, for example, detail file and action. So you can summarize by how many requests to this file was allowed, which one was pending or declined, right? So like all of this traffic. And again, the main idea of this query, just to give you understand that it will be the same Azure diagnostic, but like a resource you see, previously we use like resource type and operation name. Here we use the, because firewall works in another way with statistic, and you have to look on the resource provider Microsoft network and category application gateway firewall log, where you can find all of this stuff. Definitely you can find it, and if you look on the tables, there is a definition. There is definition of different monitoring data for the application gateway. So inside the application gateway, if you go to the reference and monitoring data, you will be able to find the metrics. You don't need metrics because we are working right now with the log analytics, but metrics again, so for the current situation, to look on this and the numbers of the connection, etc. Or you can calculate it over the log analytics and resource logs, where this data placed. Provider type that will be, you see, so like the system says that activity logs will be placed. Application gateway access log, we see on the access log display name, right? So like what we have Azure gateway performance log to analyze the application gateway performance, the same like metrics we have, and we have the application gateway firewall logs, and how the firewall works, right? And you can see that Azure application gateway includes Azure diagnostic that we saw here. Inside the diagnostic table, we can see which parameter we need to check, how we can check, etc., etc. The metrics for application gateway we already discussed it, and how to configure monitoring, you will find all of this here. By the way, this is one of the requests, but it's a shorter one to check aggregated value by count for resource ID, etc. Right? But anyway, you see all examples use the same status: resource type and operation name. Okay, and we exactly run out of time, but we still have one more option. It's ExpressRoute. ExpressRoute, it's really important to look on it, but okay, you can mix this ExpressRoute, and a network monitoring will provide you information about not only ExpressRoute but also VPN gateway. But ExpressRoute maybe will be more interesting because it's quite complicated if you don't know what you have to check and how it will be possible to check. You see, so like this one will build exactly the last 12 hours of the ExpressRoute circuit total utilization. If you need to have the different information about the different circuits, you have to put the name of the circuit here, like additional statement for the where. And we are doing this summarizing bits per out per second, average in bits per second, average outbounds per second, etc. But also, you see, we need to, for example, understand workloads, how we can bandwidth load. So how we can do this? We are using here, it's when we are talking about the 50 megabits of performance circuit, we are doing this like average take by this and multiply by 10. We are doing the same for the bandwidth and multiply by this one, etc. And after that, if we need to have the per second, not bandwidth, but exactly kilobytes per second, because again, we need to calculate it by 8,192. And all of this per each minute, so like for last 12 hours, we can see the utilization of the bandwidth based on these numbers. It's again for 50 megabits ExpressRoute. If you need to recalculate, you can recalculate it based on your performance, and of course, like because we are talking about the kilobytes per second instead of kilobits, really cent. So like it's just easier calculation, but it's how you can find the information about your ExpressRoute utilization. So it's work of it. And sorry, because again we are run out of time. Let's be, and we need to talk more about the performance here. Let's see, do we have any performance? Not yet. Not yet. Last 24 hours still not covered, unfortunately. So any NSG logs, not right now here. Connection monitor still in trouble. Always error because TCP ping is not allowed. But anyway, we have the idea how to do these checks, understand these checks, etc. And back to the questions. Yeah, so like again, so like where we can find all of this information, I'm trying to give you some basics, but again, when you look on the application monitoring data here, you can find detailed options, etc., which provider type is working, and you see there is additional diagnostic type, how it looks like for the backend, what's going on in backend, what exactly inside the performance log, what exactly on the firewall log, which details you can find. But you will need to base it on your request, base it on your requirements, which scenario you want to analyze. You will need to look on it and check it, etc. But again, back to our presentation. If you look on my recommendation for the KUSTO query itself, you will see here that all this stuff are here, like Azure Diagnostic tables, what we have, what system sent it, which columns are there, full list. But again, be sure that you understand how to take your system. But anyway, if we take for now, for example, Azure Diagnostic, and we'll not look on this information like types, etc., you will find a lot of interesting stuff. For example, backup report. It's also inside the Azure Diagnostic, right? So like a core Azure backup, etc. For the networking, right? So for WAF, we are looking for the resource type, application gateway, and operational name. Okay, we can look for the resource type, right? So like, let's do like this. Distinct. It will be easiest way to understand. Look, for now, we have only two systems that's reporting inside. So like one of it's vaults, and another one accounts. Or we can use by like not resource name, but also provided here, it's a resource provider, right? So like we can look by the resource provider, what resource provider sends this data. Provider. Okay, so the two resource provider just only. Now, like doing like this, you can find only needed rows, and after that, for example, I want to analyze what's going on with my automation. Where, oops, resource provider. When we talk about resource provider, oops, sorry. Like this one. When we talk about the resource provider inside the log analytics, right here, we see that system says that, or documentation says that's like a resource provider will be like this. So you can put it to analyze and see what's going on. After that, you have to see the category, and you will filter by category. It's exactly what was provided by resource type, or here category, to get this data. So it's easiest way to understand and look on it and work with it. But right now, for example, on our previous demo, what I did the automation. Right now I can see the job logs, job streams, etc., what exactly were executed, what's going on there, etc. And after that, play with this data, because each data you can see more detailed, what was executed, which job, blah blah blah. Okay, sorry, definitely I have to drop. Sorry about that, but anyway, you will have these queries on the links, and you can always ping me by these contacts. Welcome to the LinkedIn. I always add anyone who has the IT profile, especially if it looks like not the bot but a live IT profile. Yeah, you're welcome with it on my profile. And thank you. It was another next Cloud Monitoring Tuesday in Dubai. Welcome to the next one, next week, next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Dubai time. And we will talk about exactly the create the PowerShell automation runbook to work with this log analytics, how to connect, what exactly we need, and better understand the scenarios, why it works, what we need to do, etc. So you're welcome, and see you next Tuesday. Bye.